Well, good morning, Gina. It's
Morning, good morning.
nice to see you again. It's been a few weeks because we've both had a few things going on.
Life happens, doesn't
Life
it?
gets in the way, yes. But the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life, that's normal, isn't it? And we just have to roll with it, even though sometimes we just want to stay in bed.
Yes.
But anyway, we're here today, and today we were going to talk about how we've got to where we are now. Um, Obviously, over the last two episodes, we've spoken about the devastation in our lives due to divorce. Okay, I think we've not gone into really, really deep detail, but we know that it was devastating, and all the
Life
adjectives.
changing, life
Yes,
changing.
yeah, we can think about all the adjectives we can add to that. Shame, humiliation, degradation, da 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 da. We can go on about that, but it's how you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. And we've both done that. So today it's great opportunity for you, Gina, to tell everyone how you got to where you are now. And I hope you don't mind me saying about, how old were you when your divorce happened?
64. He left
Six.
me when I was 64. I hate that song, that Beatles song. Will you still love me? No, he won't.
So, 64, and you
Hmm.
think, wow,
Yeah,
what do I do next? Now, 67 is the retirement age. So did you think, well, I've got 3 years, or,
didn't even occur to me about retirement. Didn't
yeah,
even think about it. It wasn't even something, because I'm 67 now, and I'm not, I mean, and I get my pension, woo, woo,
yeah,
and everything. But I still no, what I do, I love what I do so much. I love helping people. I love being in people's lives. I love meeting new people. I love having a passion that I can talk about. I love how I am because of what I do. And why would you want to give that up?
yeah. Well, I know a lot of people that have actually, you know, retired at 60, 61, that, they've decided that they want to do things, they've got maybe hobbies that they want to, enjoy more. But for you, it wasn't a case of thinking,
Well, I think the thing is as well, it's what I do. It's not like a 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week. It's not like that. I mean, like, what I do now, how I describe what I do now, which is was a really rather wonderful way to live, is that my life, I say, my yeah, my it's not my life does not revolve around my job. You know, my
yeah,
life is there, and I fit the job in when I want to do it. So that's a
right,
very different thing.
yes. Now,
No,
if I just say that we met through networking, and networking, for those who don't know, is either in person or online, and we met online because it was during
not
COVID, yeah, lockdown, and we were on the networking group. So there could be like 20 plus people. I mean, I've been to one where there's about 60 people, all it online in a room. And we all go round and we give a minute's pitch about what our business is.
yeah.
So Gina came on, and I always remember because you had
My
your wand.
wand.
That was your prop.
That's my
A
USP,
very good one.
darling.
Yeah, yes. And so you told us about your product, which is Forever, which is aloe vera. And I'll leave it to you, Ginny, to expand on that because it's your baby.
It is my baby. Well,
Mm.
yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the networking, I did meet such a lot of lovely people, and carried on having friendships with them, which has been brilliant. And I think forever for me, actually forever came into my life. But it's when you look back, isn't it interesting? Because one of the things that I had to do in my life to be able to move forward and to become the person that I am now, we were talking about this a minute ago, weren't we, about how great it would be if we could have like a blueprint of who we were 5 years ago, so we could get ourselves out and go, oh, I'm so much better than I was then.
Yes.
The only person we're ever in competition with is ourselves yesterday. That's my feeling anyway. We just want to be a better person,
a better version of ourselves.
A better version of ourselves. Exactly. So when forever came into my life, I had to, it was a hard lesson. I had to stop drinking because I was drinking too much. I had a problem. And forever came into my life when I was 2 weeks sober.
So you felt that was a sign.
Oh, yes. I didn't at the time because I had no idea about law of attraction. I didn't know anything about all the stuff that is so important to me now, because I've learned it all. Because it's just
me too. Yeah.
I mean, certainly when you join a network marketing company, which Forever Living is, then you just get the personal development and all the mindset, the positive mindset, as you just get that, because that's how we're taught. Because network marketing is quite a hard business to be in. It's quite a hard industry to be in, because you get a lot of people saying all sorts of things that aren't true about it, and they don't understand. That's the thing. So you have to be very resilient. And in order to be resilient, you have to learn to love yourself. And in order to love yourself, you have to work at it. That's how it happens. That's how it works.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I feel so blessed to have come across Forever then. So I joined Forever, knowing that I was looking for something to do from home. I was looking for something to do that I could do remotely, so online. I was looking for something that would be ethical, that I could help people, that was environmentally friendly. I had quite a big list of things, and it all had to tick. And so the two things I think that really important to me was, having already been self-employed for most of my life as a restaurateur, I loved being self-employed. But I realised that the only thing I could do this time in my life was I could be a VA, a virtual assistant, which I could have done because I'm really good at all the organising. I like doing it. But then I looked at it and I thought, well, yeah, but when I'm working, I only make money when I'm working, and I want more than that. I want to be able to make money when I go to sleep. I want to go to sleep and wake up in the morning and and that's what I've got my hands on now. That's what happens. Literally, that's what happens. People put orders in and stuff happens. I wake up in the morning and I'm going, oh, lovely. And I haven't done nothing to actually, well, it's not true, because you have to get the customer in the first place. Once you get the customer, off they go in this order. So that was one of the really important things I wanted. The second important thing that I wanted was that what was it? Yes, it needed to have the possibility to give me a pension, because of what happened in my life. I was only going to be able to have the state pension, and I knew what that was like living on, because my grandparents lived on the state pension, and they did a very frugal retirement. And I did not want. I'd always said to David, my ex, I'm not being like that. We're not having that. And blow me down. There I was, hurtling towards retirement in a very, likely to be like that. So that was the other reason that I started doing it. And for quite a few years, the other thing that it was really good for me for as well was because when I was with David, he said before, he had bipolar. So I was basically his carer, not physical, but mental, and look after. And I was the breadwinner. So I was working full time at the time as well. And then I had to stop, and then I was thinking about what else I could do. And so Forever was mine. Mm-hmm. The restaurant with David was ours. And when people talked, and I hadn't realised until recently quite how much he used to bug me, because David was the chef and I did everything else. Okay. So like obviously the food's got to be good, and that is hugely important. But if you take away everything else, you haven't really got a restaurant, have you?
No. The thing is, I can hear. I know exactly where you're going with this. It was like, well, he's the star of the show.
That's it.
And you're the understudy. Yeah.
And I'm the Cinderella.
Yeah. And that actually is totally unfair, because you're working, like you say, you're the behind the scenes, and if you're not doing the things behind the scenes, then the show
Well,
doesn't go on.
the show doesn't go on.
Yes.
Not that David ever felt that. It wasn't David. I mean, he knew that we were partners, and he knew how much
you were this team.
Yes,
other
it was
people.
just the external vision. And I remember people used to say to me sometimes, "So, what time do you start work in the morning?" So I'm thinking, well, about 9:30 probably. 9:30? What do you do? I said, well, if you've had a 60-seat restaurant full of people, how much washing up have you got when you've had 4 people around for dinner?
Yeah.
Multiply that to 60 and you've got the idea of why you need to get into work at 9:30 in the morning. Yeah. And then they'd say, these delightful people would then go on to say, well, so what else? So David does the cooking. So what do you do? I say, I just do everything else.
Yes. But I think, I've learned that but for whatever reason, people want to make up their own narrative.
Yes, of course.
Not based on truth or fact. They make up their narrative, which suits how they want to perceive it. So, my father, for example, he worked shift work. He worked for the Daily Mail. And so on his days off, he'd quite like to meet up in the pub with, some of his friends. And he was judged for that. My mother got, well, why does your husband work? He's working when you're fast asleep, so you can have your newspaper in the morning. Because he worked up in Fleet Street when it was in Fleet Street. So he would be on the motorway, early hours of the morning, when we're all tucked up in bed. But people judge that, because they thought, well, he's in the pub, so he can't do anything. And it's wrong, but that's human beings for you.
That's exactly. Yeah. But I think the reason I wanted to illustrate that was the fact that forever was mine. From day one, it's been mine.
Yes,
and I like that.
And that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah,
because Polly Bloom, divorce and separation coach, is my business that was started from scratch.
Yeah.
And I had the narrative from my husband that I wasn't good enough to be able to run a business. I didn't have that mind. And I'm not saying that I'm a brilliant businesswoman, but I am running a business, and I do have to have my accountant, and because my ex-husband was a chartered accountant, he still is a chartered accountant, but that narrative throughout your marriage is that you're just a stay-at-home wife. I wasn't, because my journey here was that I worked as a learning mentor at a primary school. Before that, I worked up in the city when my girls were little as a PA in law firms, believe it or not. And then
I did that as well.
Did you? Yeah. So I was 12 years in the city. Then I gave up to raise my family. But when my daughters were really little, I became a swimming instructor, because when I was younger, I swam competitively. Every morning before school, I was very passionate, wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. Didn't get there, but anyway, it was something I did. So watching my daughters learn to swim, it was like, oh, I really want to teach. So I did that. So I've never sat back. I've always done things.
Excuse me. Stop. On top of all that, you are bringing up your children and running the home. That's 2 jobs.
Yes.
Jobs you've got.
Yes, but Gina, society today and men in particular, not all men, I'm not, don't attack me, but there are still this mindset that being a mother, working, being at home, raising family is a doddle. Okay, it's like, they just women sit and have coffee. That's some guys' mentality.
And it's sad, it's so sad that still, I don't think it's quite as prevalent. I think we are starting to chip away at it, but it's still very much there. Yeah,
it is. But anyway, so I was doing all these things, and then I went on to be a learning mentor in a primary school, helping children with special educational needs, and also helping children who were unhappy coming to school because of what was going on at home due to abuse or divorce, separation,
So you were
And
already going that way, weren't you? Do you know what I mean? It's like
yes,
that was
yeah,
the universe kind of
yeah.
like giving you that insight, because that's really good insight, isn't it? Into
Well, you say that, which is a very valid point, because a child psychologist would come into the school and I would hand over information to her that I gleaned about the children. Now, she was coming into the school 3 months, 6 months, you know, she wasn't constantly, you know, with those
you were
children.
the one that was there all the time.
Yeah, and I'd give her the information. And one day she said to me, I've got to say, you are so intuitive and insightful.
Wow.
What information you give to me, she said, makes my job so much easier. And what you're saying, I'm putting the pieces together. So I just said to her, really? I thought everybody would be like this. And she went, no, 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 no. So that's what I took as a skill, if you like,
Yeah.
to help me set up Polly Bloom, because I thought I want to take what's happened to me to be able to turn it around. And if I'm insightful with children and intuitive, then that skill is transferable into helping, you know, people who are going through a very, you know, vulnerable time in their life. They're, you know, so that's how it happened for me. But you're quite right, you know, sometimes we have to go down certain paths that lead us onto something else.
And I think in life, isn't it, I think one of the things that I've learned over the last sort of 5 or 6 years is that you know, that people say it's good and bad experiences. Actually, it's much better if you can have the attitude that they're all learning experiences.
Yes,
the good ones and the bad ones. And if you learn something from the bad ones, then you're not likely to be given that lesson to learn again, because that's what the universe keeps doing.
That's spot on, Gina.
It sends you stuff. It sends you stuff. It sends you stuff. And it's only when you go, oh, hold on, this is a bit familiar. What did I? And then you have to work through it, don't you? And realize that actually, okay, there is a different way to do this, and I can choose to react and deal with whatever the situation is in a different way. And then you will get a different outcome, because you know, we all know, well, not everybody does, but maybe they do, but they take the notice of it. You do the same thing over and over again, you get the same result.
Yeah. You have to break habits, you have to break the cycle. But it's, you know, when you're in the thick of something, you're obviously not going to be thinking like that, and you're going to think, why me? But why not you? You know, if it's not you, it's somebody else. But when you get over those questions,
this is what I think we've said, haven't we, from the beginning of our conversations, that we are not expecting people who are in the thick of it, in the thick of a divorce or a separation or whatever, to be able, but what we're saying is, and certainly I wasn't, and we were not like this 5 years or wherever long ago it was. We've grown, but we have chosen. We fortunately met people that we thought, oh, like, you know, networking and all it basically, it's about kind of meeting people and talking to people,
but it's making that effort and stepping outside your comfort zone. Because you know, I remember the very first networking I attended.
I was sick. It was honestly, I've gone all goosebumps to think about it. It was in person. The first time I'd ever gone to and my stomach is cast iron.
Yep, you have to stand up in front of people and speak about whatever. Yep, and if you've not done that before, it's whoa, you know, like you say, the adrenaline's pumping.
I was physically sick, and I was so surprised at myself. I couldn't believe it. That's all. But you know, you do it, and then you get over it, and then you do it again, and then actually, the difference between fear and excitement is so close, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like fear is very close to excitement.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a fear, and I think we've spoken about this before, a fear remains a fear until you until you step over that fear, you know, into that fear. You know, it will always be over there, like, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that. But then if you force yourself, you know, as I say, push yourself.
And also, and we've said this before, so baby steps, baby steps, little baby steps, and that's the way to do it. Incremental is so important, isn't it? And if you can't expect to go from A to Z, and nobody, you know, we're on a different chapter of our journey to someone who's just been left,
of course,
you know. So that's the thing, isn't it? We're just saying this from the with the lenses actually of someone who's been through quite a lot of trauma, and really basically today we're sort of saying what's helped us to to get to where we are today.
Yeah. And there's an exercise I like, and it's like, the binoculars or whatever, or the telescope. When you look through it, you're making everything really big, right? But if you turn it round, you're making it smaller. So sometimes it's a case of, as time goes on, is taking that telescope, and rather than having what's happened in your life really big, you turn it around and you start to dim it down.
Yes.
And so
I like that.
smaller and smaller and smaller. So and eventually it's just a little speck. It's a little speck over there. I mean, and these are like, again, coping strategies when somebody's like overwhelmed. It's like, think of turning it around, and how could you, if it's a sound, making that sound more squeaky, and rather than boom boom boom, and that image of that scene that you've got in your head, it becomes tiny, insignificant. And when you're at the beginning and in the throes of something, it's huge. It's banging on your door every day.
Imagine, and you can't ever imagine feeling better, can you? You can't ever imagine how this is me. I can't. I'm just like, what? And
I must be honest, I'm sure you agree with me, Gina, from our previous conversations, that what happens doesn't just go away.
No,
it's not like, oh, it's done and dusted, and like I say, it's small.
That'd be nice. Wouldn't that be nice?
But it's part of your life, and sometimes there's things that happen that bring it back into the room.
And and then you are absolutely in it again at the beginning, and you think, what the blimmin' X going on here?
Yeah.
But it goes.
It does. It dials down slowly.
You ride the wave.
Yeah.
And you sit with the emotions, ride the wave, and come out the other side.
I don't know if this applies to you. We're going off a little bit here, but just whilst we're talking about it, is that sometimes do you feel like association of people and places and that relate to your past that you avoid?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's sensible. I think that's sensible. If there's something that is going to trigger you, well, don't go near it if you can. What's the point?
I've put some people at arm's length, and I question why, but I just think it's because they're too triggering. They've been quite how do I put this? They haven't been helpful.
Yeah. I think when you go through something like that, you find out who your true friends are.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And you cling on to them, and you nurture them, and you love them, and you welcome them in your life, and the rest of them can just go and do what they like.
Exactly.
And then you meet new people, and then
and that's the beauty of this. You see, the thing is, a lot of people, they stay, on their hamster wheel of life, and they're not actually opening up. They're blinkered. They're not actually opening up.
And that is so sad, because one of my favorite things, I've got lots of sayings, but one of my favorite sayings is, a stranger's just a friend you haven't met yet.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that,
And look at us, because it's the same thing. We're poles apart
in person, have we? We haven't even met in person.
You're
one day. Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm going to work.
You're sort of Gloucestershire way, aren't you? And I'm sort of Essex, and so we haven't actually, had
physically
that.
No.
Yeah. But we have had wonderful conversations, and through the networking, and because of that, I now use aloe vera, forever aloe vera. I use the marine collagen, which is absolutely brilliant, and I drink the aloe vera every day. Now, I'm getting older, and I just find that the aloe vera lip gel, whatever, has helped. I have friends who say, or acquaintances that say that they wake up every morning and they can't get out of bed, they're aching. I don't.
No.
So, I firmly believe it's because of the aloe vera, and I've been trying to convert my friends into, convince them that it's good, but obviously, but so that's exactly how you've become so passionate about it, is because of the fact
benefits that I had.
So 2 weeks you were sober. Then aloe vera came in.
And I embraced it with a huge amount of enthusiasm, and because it, as I say, it ticked all the boxes that I was looking for. It was the vehicle that I wanted to get me towards having a pension, and I'm on that route now. It was the vehicle that I wanted to make me as healthy as I could be. And I just, you know, when people say, have you got someone in your life who you want to emulate, you want to be like? Well, I've got my dear mum, who I was obviously, well, not obviously, but my dear mum, I did love her. We had a really rather lovely relationship. But 20 years of her life, the last 20 years of her life, she was ill. And a lot of that was, I'm going to say this and it's harsh, but self-inflicted, because it was her lifestyle choices. Now that, to me, that is like, I am not going down that path. I'm going down that path. I'm choosing that path. And that path is my forever path. And that path means that I choose to spend money on my health. When I ask people this question in networking, how much do you spend on your health? They go, what? You know, it's like, people don't even think they need to spend any money at all on their health. Why would you not? You know, you've only got one body. We're not like, we have cars, we spend lavish, spend money on cars. You can buy another car, you can't get another body. So for me, it's hugely important that I look after myself, because I want to be, when I'm 92 or 100, I think I'm going to make it 102 actually.
Good for you.
When I'm 102, that's it. When I'm 102, I want to be the 102-year-old woman who, if she chooses, can climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Now, I don't want to do that now. I have no desire to do any mountain climb. But I want the choice. I want to be able. And that's why I'm passionate about my products. I'm passionate about the way the products have changed my life, the way the ethos of the company and the people that I associate with within the company, because that's really important, have changed my life. Because you want to be associated with people that are actually higher up than you. Do you know? I mean, I don't mean like
class wise.
No, I mean evolution in themselves wise. You know, they have done, these people that I associate with in the business, they've done what I am emulating, what I want to do. And that's, you know, so if you associate with people who always moaning about everything and have never got any money, and everything's always somebody else's fault, that's what you're going to be like. So you can choose not to be with those people. You can choose to have different people in your life, and that's kind of what I've done. And people fall away. People fall away, and that's okay, because people come for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. I heard that the other day.
Yeah, and that's true. Again, going back to what we talked about in the changes in our life, is that there are those that stay with us for forever, you know, those people that are constant, but there's those that come into our life, and again, coming back to it, is to teach you a lesson, and
definitely
to grow.
So Forever has been absolutely instrumental in it. While I was with David, and through it gave me something else to focus on. It gave us both much better health. And then when he left me, although I choose to say when he set me free now, which is worked on quite hard to be able to say that without feeling a bit sick, but I'm fine now. I can say it quite happily and mean it. Then that has been my focus, really, because I know that is, I mean, I'm very comfortably off. I have a lovely life. I have a really lovely life. I've got a huge amount of circle of friends, which I've worked on. I've got then I've got my friends, I've got my best friends, and I've got my soul sisters. And that's been something that is so important to me. And I've worked on that. And I nurture my relationships, because I don't have any children, so I haven't got any kids, and I've only got a brother. So really, my family, and my brother he's in Japan at the moment. So I, you know, but I have my family, my family of friends that I've chosen.
And you see, that's another really important message, because if I go back to my divorce, it was like the family unit, a bomb had been put in the middle of it, like that. And so the thought of a dysfunctional family, you know, really upset me. You know, how people perceive you, you know, as a divorcee, and the opinions that they may form about you, not knowing you. It was really, really difficult. But it was the way, you know, it felt shattered, and I felt like I had to put the fragments back together again. But actually, like, it just changed
Yeah.
But if your mindset then goes with that and go, it's you still got your family, you still got your, you know, the people
Just the
close to you, the
dynamic has
important.
changed, hasn't it?
It's just
The way, you see, this is the flow of life, isn't it? The way it all works has changed, but that's okay. That's good. Life is change. Go with the flow.
But you then have to make the effort to do things, like make new friends and again, step outside your comfort zone, join things that maybe you wouldn't like, you know, done before, a hobby, you know, like a group, or so that you meet people. And what's important is, and I have a lot of women of a particular age who have been shocked by their divorce, because,
well, I tell you what,
you know,
it was the last thing when I told my brother that David had left me. He couldn't speak, literally. Phone went silent, and I knew that was going to happen because that had happened to everybody that I told. And he said, he swore, and he said, Gina, he said, I would have been less surprised if you'd said David had killed himself. Yeah. And devastation and shock, because the David and Gina 40 years was no longer. Yeah. And people they feel comfortable with that. They you know, they're secure in the knowledge that there's David and Gina, they come as a pair, you know. And then all of a sudden, whoa, but it makes other people start questioning and doubting their own. Uncomfortable, yeah. You know, thinking, well, if they looked all right and there wasn't any real rifts or cracks in their relationship. Well, it wasn't as far as I was concerned. No. But actually, and interestingly, and this is interesting, because I can see it all now, because of Forever, that's actually why he left me, because I changed. Because I was going like this. I have a growth, I've always had a growth mindset, thankfully, but I had a growth mindset. I was on this trajectory, this path, whereas he was stuck in the past, because when he, and this is interesting because we talked about how people perceived my role in the restaurant and how they perceived David's role in the restaurant. Well, David was at the zenith of his life in the restaurant. That was the peak for him. And he was not able to, because actually, and you know, he was ill. Bipolar is a life-sucking, awful thing to have. And it's not great for the people involved in their life either. No. So, and fortunately, that I didn't have that. But so I was able to do this. I was able to go, right, well, I was able to look at all the things that happened in our life, which is what we talked about. It's so cool, isn't it? We talk about it. I was able to look at all my life experiences with the restaurant and think, well, that's great. I've had that. Wonderful. What can I do now? What's next? Yeah. What can I embrace now? What's going to, But he couldn't do that. No. All he could see was, oh God, that was the restaurant. I was the chef then. I was the best in that. I was this, and he was. Yeah. But how can I be that? I can't be better than that. So he wasn't. So he couldn't. So he didn't. And that's where he was firmly stuck. So he was kept looking back. But you were looking beyond that, forward, because you're thinking about, you know, retirement. You're thinking about as you get older, and what can you do now to enhance that, so it's the best future for you that is feasibly possible. He could have come with me. He was still there. He could have had that mindset if he'd wanted, but he just couldn't do it. And also, and I do think this is a very large part of why he took himself out of my life. I think it was because he wanted to drink again. Yeah. I think it was like 50-50 leaving Gina, going to the booze, because he couldn't have both. He couldn't have both. I told him that when I stopped drinking. I told him, I said, this is it for me, David. I can't drink again, because if I do, I can't live my life like that. And I want to be the person that I like. I love the person I am now. I did not love the person I was when I was drinking. And so he knew that if he decided he wanted to go back on the booze, because that was the third time he'd given up. Okay. Yeah. He knew that was it. I said, that is it for us. That's the only time in our entire marriage I'd ever said to him, if you do this, this is it. I can't. And so he knew that. Yeah. And I think, thinking about it, that the pull of it was just too much for him. Yeah. And the thing is, you said about him setting you free, but actually you set yourself free. Yeah. Because of, yes, no, don't give him any power in this, because oh, thank you. No, that's good, actually. That statement that you made,
that you won't go back there, that, you know, if you hadn't made that statement, you could still be where you were, but you knew that you wanted your life to carry on improving, not accepting that this is it.
No,
And
no. And I
this
don't
is
think
it,
anybody
and I'll
should.
just have a drink and that will make it all okay. And that's the difference between you and
And
him. And so you set yourself free so that you are meeting all these wonderful people, that you're doing something that you're passionate about and love. It's not been easy in any way, shape or form.
no,
You know,
but
it's
nothing
not
is
like
it?
no, none of this is. People can again judge, look outside and think, oh, what a
Oh,
great
well, it's all right for you.
rosy life. It's
It's
all
all
right
right
for
for
you.
you.
No, it takes a certain type of person to be able to pick themselves up and dust themselves off. Now, you might have gone through crap, you might have been rock bottom, all right, but you're not there now.
No.
This has left a scar on you,
Yeah.
a wound, a deep wound, but you're turning it around. And this is why I wanted to talk to you, Gina, because without, I hope not mind saying, because you're a woman of a particular age, and I have clients of a particular age whose narrative to themselves starts off with, you know, what is to become of me? What
would you
you
like
know,
to become of you? What do you want?
yes.
What do you
Yeah.
want?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah. And I have, you know, ladies, like one particular client, and gorgeous lady, 62, when her husband left her, and she'd taken retirement, and he knew what his intentions were, yet she retired, which then after everything came out, she was thinking, I shouldn't have retired, because and he actually said that, because she could have carried on in doing whatever. So it's saying, well, you know, you might not want to go back to work full time, you might not want to have a job that gives you a huge, you know, amounts of responsibility and no freedom, huge responsibility, no freedom. You might want to do something that you can earn as
Yeah.
much as you want to,
Yeah,
put as
yeah.
much effort into,
And also something that makes you happy, that makes you feel passionate.
which is what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
many people spend their lives drudging, and we have people coming to forever. We have people coming to forever. Literally, I reckon you say any profession, and we will have someone in forever who has come from that profession because of whatever reason. Because we've got people in the corporate world, we've got doctors, we've got psychiatrists, we've got literally every genre of person that you could possibly. We've got people who were in the city, you know, stockbrokers, all that sort of stuff, for various reasons. And quite usually the reasons, well, this is why it's gone on this track actually, is because they look as if they've got a great life. They've got a big house, they've got a posh car, they go on holidays, and they've got a lot of money, but they've got no time for themselves. And that's what people need. You don't, you know, people never get to the end of their life. People never are on their deathbed and think, oh, I really wish I'd worked a bit more.
No,
they don't say that.
No,
they say, I wish I'd spent more time with my family. I wish I'd spent more time with my friends. I wish I'd pursued whatever it is that you wanted to pursue.
And that happened to me, because funny enough, I was a learning mentor in the primary school, divorce happened, look at the salary I was earning, the head teacher at the school was amazing, and I increased my hours to full-time, because I wasn't full-time, increased them, and she looked at my grade, but it still was a poor salary.
You
know, working for local authority. So it was me thinking, right, I can't live on this. Spousal maintenance was ordered by the judge, because we'd been married for 27, 28 years by all the time it all went through. So I had that coming in, but I didn't want to be relying on that because of the entity of the person I had divorced, who, you know, the beast that I call him, because he was playing a game with me, and he did you know, it was ordered to go in on a certain day, into my bank account, the money, so all my bills, blah blah blah, and then it would go in that day. It'd go in the early hours of the following morning. You know what I mean? It was, I felt he was going to muck me about, and he
Well,
did.
he was.
Yeah, it's subtly, but he did. So I just wanted to be independent.
Independent.
So I changed jobs, and I was front of house, a hair salon and beauty as well. It wasn't then, but it is now. And it was a great learning curve, great confidence booster for me, front of house, greeting people. But it wasn't me. It really wasn't me. And then one day my daughter said, Mum, let's go to ballet. It was Christmas. Let's go see the Nutcracker. Well, in a hair salon, you have to work all through Christmas.
So
you can't take weekends off. I could only have, I think it was 4 weekends a year off anyway.
Yeah.
And it was that point that I thought, I think I was about 54 then. And I just thought, is this it? I've been through hell. And now I'm going through the motions of life. I need to work, and I know I need to earn money to pay my bills, but I'm miserable. I'm getting up. It's like that, you know.
Yeah. Hamster wheel of Satan's.
So yeah. And I said, I've got to get off. I've got to get off of this. And then I took a leap of faith. And the leap of faith was Polly Bloom. All right. Use my savings to start my business up, to do the training, to buy a computer, to
yeah, exactly. I mean, every business that you start requires money, doesn't it?
Website, accountant, you know, everything. And it was a learning curve, because I don't know if you're the same, but it's like, how do I do that? Google.
Oh yeah, ask Mr. Google. He's my best friend.
Yeah. How do I do this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
Ask my daughters. Ask people through networking.
Yeah.
And slowly, you learn. Now, it's not been easy, but I tell you something, like you've said, working for yourself, being able to put time in your diary to see your family, your friends, or whatever you choose, is a great feeling, rather than you're tied to somebody. Can I go have time off? Could I do this? And that was the step that made me challenge myself.
Yeah.
And
you're still challenging yourself, because you're doing more learning now, aren't you? You're doing all sorts of other things.
Oh, I'm training to be a clinical hypnotherapist. Yeah. Because that, yeah, just like that. No, it's the homework. but what it is that because there's a crossover there.
Yes, definitely.
With the again, coming back to the way we talk to ourselves, and understanding ourselves. And I have many a client come to me with anxiety, stress, low confidence, morale, whatever. And with hypnotherapy, it helps to have a tool to be able to change.
So you're going to be able to, you know, you're expanding your toolbox to be able to help people, which is amazing.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Then that's why, as I say, it crosses over. It's not just something I plucked out.
No,
it's something I've gone along and seen the benefits. Yes,
I'm going to be a horticulturist. Okay.
Although that can be quite therapeutic. But there is the method. There's a method to it. It's not just any old thing. So again, evolving again and meeting people through that area of my life, and
I think that's once you embrace a growth mindset, and you realise that actually you're here on earth to learn and to grow, and that's really what you're here to do. And once you embrace that and you carry on doing it, and it doesn't make any difference how old you are, your life just gets so rich. I choose a word every year, and my word this year is rich. And it's not just about money, it's about rich in happiness, rich in texture, rich in sound, rich in friends, rich in love, rich in health, rich in vitality. It's just about having a rich life.
Yes.
And I think that is something that I have been working towards and learned. And I think it's so it's so mind enhancing and liberating once you if you get to that stage. I mean, it's interesting because I love, that's why I like talking. I love talking to, to you. I like you anyway. But when we talk, it's great because we're on the same wavelength. We've been through the same things. We're on the same path, and I'm finding it more and more difficult in my life when I meet people who haven't done any sort of work on themselves and who are stuck in the mindset. But I find it really hard.
Yes. Yeah.
I find it really hard because I find it so hard not to actually say, well, just because they're not in the right space. They're not.
They're not. That's right. You can only help yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. You can moan and moan and moan and moan, but like you said, if you don't change things, it's going to stay the same.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that actually wallow in the misery of their lives.
And I think it's all they can cope with, isn't it? And that's just the way they are, and that's fine. But if I encounter people like that now, I don't stay.
No, because you want positivity around you.
Yeah,
you want people that radiate. Yeah, yes. And I'm the same, because I've had to make some very hard decisions over certain individuals.
Too. Yeah.
To let go, and it's not been easy at all. But because the conversation was always it would spiral me down.
I know.
I'd come away, and not liking me for the way I was then reacting to that.
Yeah.
So it's spiraling yourself up and doing things that keep you
and again,
mind active.
Choice. Yeah. You can choose who you spend your time with. I mean, sometimes if they're family, you can't choose that, but you can even in family, you can choose to not spend as much time with them, or spend as much time with them as you have.
Oh, yes.
I mean, and that's true, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, and I've done that as well with people in my family, because I knew how they made me feel, and I knew that I didn't want to feel like that. And so you can choose. It's all about choice.
And the choice comes back to, and this is where we're going to finish on this note now, but the choice comes back to the way you look after yourself. And again, the choice is you can drink every night of the week if that's what you want to do, fine, but then don't moan that you don't feel well, or you can't concentrate. That's the choice. And so the choice to eat healthily, the choice to put something into your body that actually is oiling you from the inside out.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are very bothered about what's going on the outside, rather than actually a combination of both. Taking care of themselves.
You have to heal from the inside out. That's the aloe vera philosophy. Heal from the inside out, because you can't see what's going on inside your body, but you know what's going on inside your body, because your body will be going oi with symptoms. So headaches, tummy aches, skin problems, tired all the time, no energy. That is your body telling you, tapping you and saying, oi, listen to me. There is something wrong. You have to change something. And so our body does tell us, but we choose to ignore it. And that's
So if anybody watching would like to speak to you, or they can speak to me, because obviously I've helped out with aloe vera, haven't I?
No, you're a great role model for aloe vera and a great ambassador for the products, which is fantastic.
So, if anybody wants to speak to either of us, but mainly yourself, I shall leave your details at the end of this video. But how can they get in contact with you, Gina?
Well, the best way to get in contact with me really is to sort of email me, I suppose, really, probably. So we'll put my email down there. And then I'm all over Facebook. I'm all over Facebook like a rash, basically. But I just wanted to say as well, just one thing before we finish, is that if anybody is feeling that they would like something in their life that is going to give them some extra cash, that can make them friends, that will help them on their life journey, then do get in touch with me, and I can talk to them. I can talk through them, what it involves being a forever business owner, because I'm always looking for people to work with, and I'd really like to work with people my own age, or younger. But certainly, because I feel that sometimes age is stops you doing things, but there is no age limit in Forever. And I think the oldest person that ever joined was 91.
Wow. That's
And on that
amazing.
note,
Yes, that's amazing. And working with you would be an
oh,
absolute
God,
dream.
who
Yeah,
wouldn't want to?
you're so easy to get along with, Gina. So, you know, how nice to be able to pick up the phone to you and saying, oh, you know, and what do I do here? And I'm a bit worried about this. Wow,
Yeah.
you know,
Support,
amazing.
hand holding, a lot of hand holding.
Yeah, yeah. We've all got to start somewhere and learn. So thanks ever so much, Gina. And I shall see you next time.
Yeah, cool. Okay.